Good morning. A lot of people, you all probably know me at this point, Transportation Commissioner Polly Trottenberg, and I am thrilled to be back here on Northern Boulevard with Council Majority Leader Jimmy Van Bramer, Transportation Alternatives Community Board 2, to discuss some exciting new safety improvements that we're making on the street that has been, I think we would say, at the core of Vision Zero since day one. More than 3 years ago, I stood actually less than a mile from here with Mayor de Blasio, with then Police Commissioner Bill Bratton, with Councilmember Van Bramer and family members to announce the kickoff of Vision Zero. Back then, an 8-year-old boy, Nushat Nayan, had been tragically struck and killed at 61st Street and Northern Boulevard on his way to school. And that tragedy really got the Vision Zero effort going and made us all focus so tremendously on this important life-saving work. And it was wonderful to stand then with someone who has become such a great partner and leader for us in this work, Councilmember Van Bramer. So today we're at another part of Northern Boulevard. You might see, I'll wait till the truck passes. What I would describe as a hairy five-legged intersection that you can see behind us, which has presented over time a real challenge for pedestrians, motorists, and for bus drivers that have roots around here as they try and navigate its complexities. Unfortunately, 2 pedestrians have suffered serious injuries here in the last 5 years. And you can see, I think, from the challenges, we have, I think, some terrific before and after photos. You can see before our work here, there were no crosswalks on the west side of Northern Boulevard, or the northern part near the park here known as Dwyer Park, and you can see this poor pedestrian standing in the middle of the road there. So I have to say the brilliant team behind me got to work, and I think they've come up with a great project. We've added 2 new crosswalks, we've constructed a new concrete pedestrian island, with a curb extension, which you can see right here where we're standing. And I'm happy to say we also had a great partnership with New York City Transit. One of the other challenges we had here, oops, sorry, my fingers are full, was the Q104 bus heading southbound on 48th Street from Broadway and continuing southbound past Northern Boulevard, faced vehicles turning left from 48th Street, and the bus drivers had to make a jagged and out-of-the-way movement due to the street alignment. So we worked with New York City Transit to address this by reversing 48th and 49th Street and rerouting southbound Q104 to 49th Street, where it now avoids conflicts, has a more straightforward route, basically a safer route. So altogether, these improvements are part of the larger Vision Zero project that's underway. That's ultimately going to be spanning Honeywell to Broadway, a corridor that has had 1 fatality and 22 severe injuries between 2010 and 2014, and I know the council members are going to speak more about the larger project. I'm so proud that working together, we've done a lot to increase safety in recent years on this corridor. And we will be adding, and I'll have the council member talk about it, 14 pedestrian safety islands as part of what's going to continue to be this big multi-year project. I want to take a second to thank the incredible team I have behind me. I hope I get everybody's name. If I miss somebody, I'm sorry. Tara Ishii, Heidi Wolf, and Casey Burrell of our Pedestrians Projects Group, who took the lead on this project. Our sidewalk inspection team, Keith Howard and Denise Cepeda, our project engineer, Shiragi Amin from our marketing unit, our signals and borough engineering units, and our Queensborough Commissioner Nicole Garcia and our Deputy Queensborough Commissioner Jason Benry. Northern Boulevard is critical to Queens and the safety of the tens of thousands of people who live near it and travel on it every day, and it's part of what is really at the heart of Vision Zero. And now I want to turn to someone, again, who has been such a terrific partner and leader in our work here in Queens, Councilmember Jimmy Van Bramer.
Thank you very much. Thank you to our great commissioner, and I have to say, no matter what the weather, we've been able to accomplish some great things on behalf of the people of my district and the city of New York with your leadership and your teams. So I will stand in the cold anytime with Polly Trottenberg. She's just been amazing. And I want to thank all the folks who are here, including Florence Caloris, our district manager of Community Board 1, who's just joined us. I want to thank her for being here. We are on the border of Community Boards 1 and 2, so exciting project. And I know we're going to hear from Juan Restrepo and Transportation Alternatives and Christina Furlong from Make Queens Safer, some amazing activists. So as you can see, Northern Boulevard is busy. It is noisy. There are pedestrians, cyclists, and automobiles coming from lots of different places, going to lots of different places in many different directions. It's an important corridor, and in the past, it's been a dangerous corridor. And we all have an obligation to make it safer, and that's why we're so grateful for the Department of Transportation for stepping up and investing in the safety of our community. We've been on Northern Boulevard several times, actually, for various events to make sure that Vision Zero is a reality here in Northern Boulevard. A few years ago, a car jumped the curb and crashed into that bus shelter and injured a little girl who had been shopping with her mother. We came out and had a press conference, again in freezing weather, to speak about that particular injury, and which could have been fatal. But in addition to all the injuries that have happened, 329 injuries just in the 5-year period from 2010 to 2014, part of what we're doing here is making sure that no one dies. We want to be proactive and protect people before any more injuries, serious injuries or deaths occur. And so this island and the work that you're seeing here, which will be replicated in no less than 14 other places, a total investment of approximately $1 million in Northern Boulevard in this particular corridor will make Western Queens residents safer, prevent injuries. The Commissioner mentioned Dwyer Square, which is just behind us, and it's important to note that's where we buy our Christmas trees. It is one of those places where we all buy our Christmas trees. That's where my husband and I buy our Christmas tree every year. And so at the holidays, it gets incredibly busy here with people crossing back and forth to buy their Christmas trees and then bring them home. And that's why that traffic island that you can see there is so incredibly important, because in the past people had nowhere to stop where they could be protected and feel safe. The fact that we have that now here at this intersection, which is incredibly busy and incredibly tricky, and are going to have it in other places, is just a remarkable accomplishment that is going to improve the safety. And I'm proud to have worked with the community board and with the Department of Transportation to change in some ways the directions of the traffic flow. Of course, to continue to support a robust and expanded bike lane network, which I believe makes everyone safer, and to reduce the speed limits and to create slow zones, including on Northern Boulevard. We're doing some great work, and the Commissioner should be rightly proud, because we are seeing a dramatic reduction in fatalities across the city, and that is something I'm very proud to have worked with the Commissioner and her staff and really the activists who have really made the case that this has to happen. The Commissioner mentioned Nosha Nahyan, who was killed not too far from here. There were a few other deaths to the west, and we have an obligation to act, and we have an obligation to respond, and we've done that, working together, and I'm really enormously proud of that work. So I want to thank the Commissioner. This $1 million investment on Northern Boulevard and this particular stretch, I believe, clearly will save lives, and that is the most important work that we can do, is to make sure that no one dies here on Northern Boulevard ever again. And I know that's our goal, and this project will help us get there. So thank you for your partnership, and look forward to doing even more to make sure the Vision Zero is a reality all throughout my district and the city of New York. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. You are a relentless champion for your district, so I know we will always be coming to do more work here. And you mentioned our good work with the community board. We're lucky today. We're joined by Florence Caloris, Community Board 1 District Manager. Hope she'll come up and say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Trottenberg. Our board is very lucky that we have a great rapport with DOT, and our board takes our responsibility to the community very seriously, and safety is the #1 aspect Jimmy has been a champion for Northern Boulevard to make sure that anybody who has to cross the street here is safe, and DOT has come up with a plan that we believe will be a much better flow for everyone, and that all of the people of this district will be safe, drivers, pedestrians, bicycle riders. So to DOT and Jimmy Van Bramer, we thank you very much.
And I think the council member also mentioned what a great partnership we've had with our activist community, particularly here in Queens. They have been such effective partners in helping us get so many important projects off the ground. And we're joined today by a rep for Transportation Alternatives, Juan Restrepo. Hope he'll come up and say a few words.
Hello. Hi, everyone. I would just like to say a couple of words about this. I would first like to thank Polly Trottenberg and Jimmy Van Bramer for being Vision Zero heroes, ensuring that the safety of residents in Astoria, and Woodside, and all the various communities of Queens have safe faculties for walking, biking, and using mass transit. I would also like to preface this by saying that as an organizer for our organization, we have activists who care about these issues, but this personal median this median right here has a personal value to me. I grew up in Community Board 1. I'm an Astoria native, and as a little kid I would often cross this street, which you can see has a lot of vehicular traffic, and you need to cross 4 car lanes to get to the other side if you want to go to Chuck E. Cheese's, to the Guitar Center, just play some instruments, not really buy anything, to go to the Toys R Us, buy some toys, or just browse. And changes like these change the fabric of our neighborhood, and it encourages more activities like those. We need to encourage our residents to visit our shops and to feel safe in doing so. And projects like these and the additional meetings that are going to be implemented is only going to encourage that. We stand behind decisions like these, and we hope to see a lot more like this. Thank you so much for your hard work and your advocacy. Thank you.
Thanks, Juan, and thanks for your partnership. Just wanted to acknowledge we are joined by someone from Stephen Raga from Representative Assembly Member Brian Barnwell's office. So thanks, Stephen, for being here, and I think we're ready to take some questions. If anyone has a question.
Yeah,
David has a question.
I have a question. Northern Boulevard is a very long street. It's a long road around there. It stretches the length of the borough. And fatalities have happened on this side of the borough and also on the other side, as you know. Biking, trying to access a bike trail out in Eastern Queens was killed while he was biking on Northern Boulevard. What would it take to redesign the whole corridor? And why is that not something that is happening right this moment?
By redesign the whole corridor, you mean like do a big complete streets type project?
Well, not necessarily complete streets, but even replicating what we've done in this part of the corridor further east.
Well, further east or further east, yeah. Look, I think our goal is, and actually I'm going to actually pull Tara and Nicole up to talk about. Look, I think our goal is, obviously over the next year we're going to be working on this portion of it, but Northern Boulevard, it was the street that started Vision Zero. It's on our list as a Vision Zero corridor, and I think our intention is to continue over the years to move throughout the whole boulevard. But I don't know, Queens, and if Tara and Nicole want to say anything about that.
No, absolutely. I mean, when we kicked off Vision... Oh, sure.
Yeah, come on up, Nicole.
When we kicked off Vision Zero, I mean, it was right here on Northern Boulevard. So since that began, it's an iterative process, and we're going to keep coming back to this street to make safety improvements.
What are some of the challenges? Like broadly, I know it's like 7 miles, but what are some of the challenges?
I mean, we want to look at the data and then work with the community boards and other local stakeholders to get it just right, and we're very grateful to the community boards that were so supportive, and of course the council.
I'd like to just speak to the challenge. So, I mean, Northern Boulevard, as you said, goes the length of Queens, but here in Western Queens, it is obviously the lead-in to the Queensboro Bridge for a lot of folks, so you have an incredible amount of traffic going east to west. Then you also obviously see an awful lot of shops and a lot of businesses, the development to the west, and there are lots of schools on various portions of Northern Boulevard as well. So you have this incredible,
place where so many pedestrians, cyclists, and motorists are, and a lot of folks also going north to south, as we've seen here. So I think there are a lot of challenges, and getting everyone to move correctly and safely is obviously a challenge. But I do want to say that the Department of Transportation has been out here several times. The commissioner herself, the mayor, really focused laser-like on safety. Obviously, the work on Queens Boulevard, is exemplary and incredible, and I think they have a shared focus and passion for safety on Northern Boulevard as well.
Anything else?
Any other questions?
Queens by the minute. All these actions taken to make zero that program successful do not include relating any problems to the human nature of the drivers. There are many drivers that you'll see on this road in rush hour when the traffic is moderate. They're tailing along just like they would on First Avenue, trying to stay within the light sequence. And they're speeding along trying to catch up with the light sequence. Have you ever considered where you have your speed cameras to give tickets? Can you not make cameras that will give acceleration tickets when the light changes to yellow? Because many accidents happen at intersections where a car is zooming by trying to beat the light before it turns red.
Well, look, just to sort of get to the human factors, we try and do a bunch of things in our street design. We try and design our streets in such a way that it encourages safe driving, and we try and use our signal timing, our signage, etc., to do the same. So we do try and account for, in design, those human factors best we can. In terms of our speed camera program, as some of you may know, we have a certain amount of restrictions on where we can place those cameras. We have to place them on street that abuts the entrance to a school within a half mile. They can only operate during school hours. So we try and put them in the places that we think are the most strategic in terms of reducing speeding and crashes within those restrictions. Come on up. Don't be shy. Introduce yourself.
I'm sorry, Christina Furlong from Make Queens Safer. I want to say that we were here in 2013 when Noshat Nahian was killed. And on another very cold day in January, the mayor came to PS 153 and announced Vision Zero here on Northern Boulevard. And I want to say that this boulevard is an unheralded success of Vision Zero. It all the way up to 114th Street and down here. These improvements may not be acknowledged as much because a lot of times what DOT is doing is often referred to the community as putting in bike lanes. But this is what DOT is actually doing, street safety improvements like this that have saved lives up and down this corridor and made traffic more predictable for all road users. And this road is a very great example of all road users, like Juan mentioned with kids going to activities here. There's also a very active bus lane, 266, which someday maybe might be an express bus lane in Manhattan. We get a ring. I think that's it for now. Thank you.
I think she had a question.
Yeah.
Did you have a question?
This is going to move on because
Sorry, sir, you have to speak up. I can't hear you.
Boulevard is busy as well. A lot of people are down there to is there any plans to upgrade or do anything to help with that on Boulevard, that road?
Well, Queens Boulevard, we have had a massive project there. We're now into phase 2, and we're very, very proud of the work. We have put in a lot of pedestrian safety improvements, a protected bike lane, and we have actually seen, and I'm going to knock on wood as I do this, the Boulevard of Death has now not had a fatality for, I believe, 2 years. And look, I thank you. We should actually take a moment to, and by the way, there are a lot of people standing here who get some credit for that. The incredible political leadership we've seen, the work of advocates, and the work, I think, of our amazing planners and engineers and visionaries at DOT. So we've got 2 phases going there. There's going to be more phases to come. We're going to come and do capital work there as well. Queens Boulevard has been one of our highest priority corridors, and it really shows that over time, when you have a great team of people working together, you can really transform what is one of the widest and most dangerous and difficult streets in the city.
Oh no, he's got to follow up.
Let him tell us. We won't skip you, don't worry. Well, part of Vision Zero we like to talk about, we always talk about in transportation safety the 3 E's. First of all, engineering, then enforcement, often handled by our partners in NYPD, and then education. And particularly on the education piece, DOT and NYPD work together very closely. You'll see us, we've been out with our speakers, and we talk to everybody. We talk to motorists, we talk to cyclists, we talk to pedestrians. But look, our focus is always going to start with motorists. When you are behind the wheel of a 4 or 5 ton vehicle, you have the responsibility, because you obviously have the power when you're behind the wheel to make decisions that can really be life or death.
I just want to say one thing about, I want to also talk about Queens Boulevard, because the changes that were made were in some cases not popular, but I am extraordinarily proud to have helped lead the fight for the changes that took place. Community Board 2 voted in favor of the changes that did not just include a bike lane, as Christina mentioned before, but numerous safety measures. And if we hadn't taken those measures, I believe you wouldn't have seen what we've seen over the last couple of years, which is no deaths on Queens Boulevard, and transforming Queens Boulevard from the Boulevard of Death to the Boulevard of Life. But it takes leadership, and sometimes you have to do things that aren't the most popular. We did that in Queens Boulevard, on Queens Boulevard. We did that in Woodside, and I think that's happening in other parts of Queens Boulevard corridor as well. But the situation that you referenced before, that had been the case for Queens Boulevard for too long, is no longer the reality on Queens Boulevard, and that doesn't happen unless the city, both the administration, the mayor, Department of Transportation, and the council put in $100 million to change physically Queens Boulevard, and then also demonstrate the political willingness to fight for those safety measures to make sure people stop dying on Queens Boulevard. That's what's happened. That's an incredible success story. And now
I'm actually going to let the council member speak to perhaps the more political elements of the community boards. I just want to speak about that project for a minute, though, the 111th Street project. We think it is an important safety project, an important project particularly to make it safe for pedestrians and cyclists. We see a lot of cyclists on that street, all kinds of New Yorkers cycling, immigrants, native-born, young, old, families with children. So I think the message that I would just like to take out of that community board meeting is we think this is a really important project, and we really want to see it go forward.
And I'll just add, the comments were reprehensible, disgraceful, and there should be no place for that kind of racism, xenophobia, stereotyping from people who purport to be leaders, people who are on community boards. I saw myself and heard some of the comments when asked how she knew that they were undocumented immigrants who were biking on the bike lanes, and she said that she knew because of the clothing, and that people just know based on the kinds of clothes that they wore. That's how she was able to identify the cyclists as undocumented immigrants. That's disgusting. That's disgraceful. There's no place for that. This is Queens. We're talking about Corona, Elmhurst, Jackson Heights, some of the most diverse communities in our community. And look, that's not my board and that's not my appointment. But if I had somebody on my boards who echoed those kinds of comments, I would call for their resignation. And I believe that person is unfit to serve on community board 4.
If if I could just follow up. All right. So the commissioner, this project on 111th Street has been going back and forth with the community board for 2 years. I've been to that community board many times. It seems to me that they don't actually believe that there is any safety concern on that street. At what point is DOT just going to say, yes, there is, and install the project?
Well, I think it's a very fair question. And look, I would say that the debate about that project is not just involved with the community board. I think people who followed it know there's been a robust discussion involving a lot of the elected officials of that part of Queens. So there have been a lot of players and a lot of back and forth. Again, we always want to try and work with community boards, but as you know, sometimes we will go ahead with projects when we think they're essential. Stay tuned. We'll see what happens over the, we're going to be back again soon, and stay tuned. But this is, I will say again, I think this is a tremendously important project. There is a real safety need there. It is a tremendously important corridor for people trying to get into the park, for families who want to cycle, for pedestrians, and we think this project will address a lot of those challenges.
Thanks, everyone. We're going to do a quick ribbon cut. You can speak after.
Yeah, we're doing ribbon cutting down now.
Right behind us, though. Everyone.
Look at the cameras.
We're just posing, right? We're just gonna smile and pose.
2, 3.
We didn't hear you, Scott. Try again.
One more time, Steph.
What are we doing?
All right, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
All right. Oh, now's that litter. Thank you.